Yo, what is up, YouTube Boxing family? People that have been rocking for the channel, anybody that's popping through. I'm here today with Mr. Tito, Tito Mercado, and I'm going to be talking with him about his boxing career. He's a current professional fighter that fights at 135, correct?
Yeah.
All right. We're just gonna have a good conversation, and we're gonna just chop it up. So to you, if you don't mind, please explain to the audience how you get into boxing and what's like inspiring you to become the fighter that you are today.
Yeah, what initially got me into boxing was my father and my uncle. They started training around the age when I was 4, and I just kind of seen them working, and I guess I kind of just threw myself into it, got me interested. So that's what initially got me started. And my father was an amateur boxer before, so I kind of seen them doing it. I kind of found there's a way to get more involved with my father, so I kind of threw myself into that. And right now, obviously it's been paying off. Right now I'm 7-0 professional with 7 knockouts.
Uh, yeah, that's a very interesting that you say that because some other fighters that I personally know, they tell me like the same thing, that it's either through like a family member that inspires them to box. But knowing how difficult boxing is, do you do it for the legacy, or do you just do it because it's something that makes you think deep down inside of your heart and mindset to be like, this could be me one day, 20, 40 years, down the road?
I guess a little bit of both. Obviously for legacy, for my family. Obviously as well for myself. It's more the challenges that boxing provides, I guess. And it's an individual sport, so knowing that you beat somebody, or the top guys or something like that, and it's not like a team sport where everybody has to kind of contribute. Even though I have my corner to contribute, but I'm saying as far as getting that ring, sometimes you have to make those adjustments on your own because you don't have your corner. So just to know that you're able to beat the top guys, and you're the best, that honestly that's the feeling that I always go for.
Um, as far as your school of boxing knowledge that you've attained so far, of what training camps or trainers have you gotten your boxing information from? What skill sets have you garnered from certain people in boxing now that have made you into like the fighter that that you are today?
Just my father. That's been my trainer for since the start of it, and I'm planning to end with it. Another trainer. He's taught me everything. We obviously study a lot together, and he's brought me this far, and I know we're gonna continue to improve.
Of like as far as your current weight class goes, do you have like a set plan of what you want to do at lightweight, and if so, what's like the goal of what you're trying to do right now?
This current fight I'm gonna be doing on October 22nd against Jason is gonna be at 140. It was an opportunity that I couldn't really pass up. It was a great opposition, right? And it's for a NAVA silver title, so I couldn't pass that up. But I eventually plan to go back down to 135 and capture the belts over there. Whether regardless I have to go through Haney or not, I'm not sure if he's gonna be there for too much longer. But if I have to take those belts away from myself, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, because I'm actually connected with people that know him, but the thing is from what I'm hearing, Devin said he has one more fight left on Top Rank, and then the plan would either be maybe fight Lomachenko, or if anything, he should just move up, and then the belts will be vacated. So, I guess in your perfect world, would you just want to fight Haney directly, or do you think it's time for you to face some other fighters, in the division per se, that are currently in the division, or at least fighters that are definitely coming into the division, like Shakur Stevenson and all the other guys at 130 and below?
I mean, it just all depends, man. If I'm able to get that fight directly, I mean, why not? There's a lot of fighters that would want to just go straight forward, right, for the best way. But if I had to take some fights like Shakur, then any of the top guys at 135 to get to Devin, then that's no problem as well for me. I have no problem beating anybody.
Yeah, because personally, I really want to see you fight Keyshawn Davis because you've been saying a lot of great beef, talk towards him, and I think that's a perfect fight right now. Like as far as where things are, between your careers, and I think if I'm not mistaken, like having that fight will definitely make that branding a lot better because if you beat him, then basically in your own worldview, you could easily just run right through everybody else because those bigger names will definitely come up, right?
Right. No, and I think that's a great fight. We got obviously we have some history with each other. I think it's a perfect fight for me. Although it's a great idea for him to take a fight with me at this point or any point in his career. But that fight, a lot of people want to see it.
All right. I got Just Stu here. He's one of like my partners, like that I talk with, but he definitely has like a lot of questions, like to ask you.
Okay, cool.
Hey, what's going on, Tito?
What's
How
going on?
you feeling, bro?
Feeling good. How about
Hey,
yourself?
man, I wanted to ask you, how bad do you want to fight Keyshawn? And the reason I asked because I watched the interview that you did, and you talked about a little bit of y'all history, and you hit on how the coaches how they treated you and how they were teaching you the wrong things purposely and things like that. I just want to know how bad you want to get your hands on Keyshawn Davis, man.
Man, honestly, I do want that fight real bad. Just because of the fact I want to he stole from me, not being able to go there and represent. Um, but as far as that, man, I'm not losing no sleep over him. I know I'm moving on with my career now. I'm fighting great fighters. My fight October 22nd against Jason Velez. I'm moving on with my career with or without him, but
Ah,
I definitely fight with him, and I know Top Rank's gonna try to avoid me, getting in the ring with him, but I'm gonna keep going there, bring his name out, and bring him out of those shadows that he's lurking in.
hey man, I feel you. Hey man, keep applying pressure, man. One thing we do when we talk this boxing, man, is I'm an advocate personally for fighters fighting individuals that want to fight them back, and I just think that'd be a hell of a fight. And a lot of people want to see it. Like I said, they hear the past history, and be honest, man, from the people I talk to, I don't think people like his arrogance. I think they just feel like he's too arrogant. And I think some people out there that feel like you would be the guy to kind of humble him just a bit.
Yeah, the problem, man, when you associate many world champions stuff like that, you start getting your heads in the cloud too much. And he's been doing that since the amateurs, and I think that's gonna be a downfall for him. I hope he comes the best. Honestly, the best they say he is, but when you have your head in the clouds like that, man, it's really easy to humble fighters like that.
True, true indeed.
I actually want to follow up with that, and I think this is a very very deep question, but like for your perspective, is it good to be humble in boxing or like cocky in boxing? Because I think like when you have like those two different characters, especially when people use humble a lot in boxing, I think they don't understand that this is a sport where you have to be very very vigilant coming into your fights, and I'm pretty sure when you get into those wars, there's nothing humble to be like about it other than just, hey, this is me, this is what I have to do and this is what I bring to the table. So do you have to be humble coming into your fight, or do you have to have that high like up and mighty, how should I say, like high, like up and mighty cockiness to to solidify victory if you think that you're better than everyone else?
In my personal opinion, I feel like they both need a balance in a way. Me myself,
Hmm?
I'm very humble, but I feel like I like to speak my mind out, and I feel like sometimes there's fighters out here, especially now, that are so humble that they don't get the recognition they deserve because they don't speak out. So me,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
like balance where I'm a humble fighter, man, but when it comes down to it, I'm gonna speak my mind out.
Yeah, you come across as a pretty humble dude, man. And I agree. You need a balance of both. And I get what you mean, K Rod, because me lately, I've been trying to understand, and I'll just use him as an example because we've been talking about him. Keyshawn, I've been trying to understand from the outside looking in fighters like him. And I try to I think when you take punches for a living, like I think it is a certain amount of confidence and I don't want to say arrogance. I want to use the right word. I think it's a certain amount of confidence that you and belief that you gotta share to be able to compete in the sport of boxing. But I think, like you said, there is a balance, man, and I do find myself trying to understand that the cocky fighter just a bit more. Instead of judging, I'm in a situation where I try to understand. So I see you just the polar opposite of Keyshawn, and I respect both of y'all. I just hope at some point you truly get that fight because I don't see no reason why you wouldn't get it. You deserve it. You keep winning, and if I'm not mistaken, you had a knockout not too long ago, right?
Yeah, a knockout in August, the 25th over here in Cali, and like I said, man, I got another great fight. All these products not stepping up. Keyshawn's not stepping up. I'm stepping up, taking a guy
Yeah.
that's I mean that's still dangerous. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to show what's up. So I want to get that fight or any other fights that are
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn. There's a lot of other great fighters, so it don't really matter. I'm taking whoever.
Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, Jason Velez is a vet, so I'm definitely. Is it a way we could watch it? Will it be televised?
Yeah, they're gonna be televising in their own little like thing. I think it's gonna be like $10. They're
Mm.
gonna get the
Hmm. Reason I ask because I'm truly passionate about the sport, and I like what your young kings are doing, man. And if it's a way I could support you and actually watch you, that I'm gonna actually do it. So if it's a way I can watch your fight, I definitely be tuning in.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem, bro.
Hey Tito, I got a question from the chat. Skywalker Boxing says, "Who are your heroes that you look up to in boxing? Um, do you have any legends that you look up to?"
Yeah, I have a couple. From the beginning, I kind of always looked up to Ray Leonard. I looked up to
Mm,
Hill from
mm,
Iowa and Salvador Sanchez, where
Oh yeah.
the other half
Hmm.
I'm from Mexico as well. My mother's side. So, but really, the one that I always watched, no matter what, was Ray Leonard. From the Olympics, from fighting Tommy Hearns and all them, fight everybody. So that's kind of who I kind of looked up to.
Yeah. I find that interesting that that you say that because a lot of these like great Mexican fighters, I'll even use Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Juan Manuel Marquez, but I don't know if you can like agree, but like they really learn from like Black American fighting styles because if you think about it, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. like his style almost replicated like a young version of like a almost like a young Tommy Hearns, but it was like very rough, rugged, and it had like a good style with it. And same thing, with Marquez because Marquez, he actually got better when he came over, to the states. And honestly, I really wish like a lot of those fighters out of the Mexican region actually came over to America to train and actually become professionals because um, I don't know if it's true, but you know maybe like a ton of those fighters out of those regions they don't have like the money to come over to the states. So maybe that's why, like when you hear guys like Isaac Pitbull Cruz and Eduardo Ramirez and all these other Mexicans, like I would just assume that they try to fight whoever that they could fight down there before they could get like a big opportunity to like come over here because that's pretty much like their one way out to like give themselves like the opportunity to get better. So I guess to follow that question up, do you like do you think that type of school of boxing is starting to like evolve past it, or do you think those fighters are not on like the level compared to all the other all time greats?
I think it's different. I think like you were talking about how over there they got to fight kind of each other over there. It's because I mean not a lot of them got the resources and the backing or the support to be able to come out here or fight better fighters and stuff like that. But I think it's definitely evolving. You see a lot of fighters fighting differently. I think there's honestly you could learn from a lot of different fighters from different regions. You'd be surprised. You can learn a lot of stuff. But as far as that, I think the Mexican style has always kind of been the same as far as coming forward, applying the pressure. And I think that with me coming in, I think I'll definitely change the aspect a little bit, as well as I think Canelo's kind of changing. He's trying to box a little bit more as well. So I think with me coming in, a young guy, I think I'll be able to change that a lot for them.
I also wanted to follow that up with another good question. knowing that you do have Mexican blood, can you please honor a Mexico versus Puerto Rico matchup? Hey, I got wait. Before I let you say anything, I got one good fighter in mind, and this is a public call out. I'm just gonna put it out here. His name is Julio El Macho Solis. He fights at lightweight. He says he wants all the smoke. Maybe you and him can get together and fight each other, but if so, please, I'm just putting that out there. That's a good fight.
I'm gonna remember that name. I'm about to search him up. Um, tech, it's a Mexico versus Puerto Rico. I'm fighting Jason Velez, who's from Puerto Rico. But definitely, I'll definitely take that fight as well. If it's something that's that's both convenient for me and him. But I will say this: from the amateurs, to everything, I'm undefeated against Puerto Ricans. I'll just put it right there.
Oh my God. Oh,
I'll just put it right. All the prospects from right now, they're trying to blow up. Aaron Aponte. All these guys right now.
oh yeah, he's good. Yeah. Have you actually ran into all the other known fighters? Like Xander Zayas, Luisa Melendez, and um who's like the other guy that fights at 126?
Exactly. 47.
Who?
Xander Zayas. I think he fights at 147.
Oh no, Xander. He fights at
54.
Yeah,
he moved. He was at 47. He moved up.
Yeah.
I like that kid too. He's another talent.
Who did you meet? In the amateurs that you've had history with?
Believe it or not, I was actually gonna fight Xander Zayas over there in Florida. I went for a tournament, and
Wow.
after the tournament was done, we're gonna do a match bout with I was trying to get as many fights as I could over there, and I ended up fighting his stablemate instead because he was a little heavier, had more experience than him at the time. So I ended up taking what I thought would be the better fight. But if I would have knew, the hype around Xander Zayas, I definitely would have taken that fight instead. But uh,
Yeah.
I was supposed to fight him though. That's a true story. You could even ask him yourself. That was a good one. But I fought all the prospects, man. Like I said, Aaron Aponte, Charlie Chi that they're blowing up right now as well on Top Rank. Amado Vargas, with the Vargas.
Oh yeah, yo, Amado Vargas, yo, I can see you fighting him real soon.
Yeah, I don't think they would want to take that type of fight yet. I think
Yeah, man.
He's a good fighter.
Box Rec got your height correct? You 5'10"?
Yeah, like you a tall person.
Yeah, that's the problem at lightweight. I always said that. I'm sitting here looking, and you about to fight a guy with 40 fights, man. I think that says a lot about what you're trying to do in the sport right now. And I think everybody should know Jason Velez by now.
No, everybody,
tough guy.
Everybody,
Yeah,
it's a great fight, great step up fight. A lot of people are surprised to pick that. But like I said in every interview, I'm trying to take the best fights, and I want to show it. I'm not gonna be over there on Twitter all day.
I hear it. I appreciate that. I like that. We need more fighters with your energy, man. I think you got a good balance of both. You humble, but you do speak your mind. And I think when you speak, you make a lot of sense. That's why I asked that initial question about Keyshawn, because I think the way you handled that interview, and I touched on it on the live. I said, man, that's something people need to hear. That interview that you was speaking on, and some of the treatment you got, and man, I just hope moving forward that you get treated a lot better than you experienced back then. I just hope things continue to move, in your favor.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and I think that happens a lot in amateur boxing, especially around the time of the Olympics. But I don't think a lot of fighters speak up. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully with talking on that topic, a lot of fighters are able to, or even USA Boxing able to change their ways a little bit to give the fighters that actually deserve it the shot to actually go over there and represent. That's all. That's all. I'm trying to bring awareness to what's going on.
And that's how I think a lot of times that's how people build disdain for fighters. It's not nothing personal, but when you hear a story, and I'm just sorry, I like Keyshawn Davis. I like watching him fight. I got to see him live in his last fight. He did his thing, but I just hate to hear a fighter, when you speak on, and I feel like what you were saying was true. You wasn't no stumbling, you wasn't trying to create a narrative. You really explain what your experience was. And like I said, I just think things like that need to be highlighted. And I thought it was like, I respect you even having the heart to speak on it and not, not worry about the criticism or somebody, trying to, I guess, counter what you're saying. We starting to hear these little stories more and more. So, like I said, I'm just glad you spoke on it. And like I said, hopefully moving forward, things move more in your favor, man, because you look hungry and you the kind of energy, you got the type of attitude and hunger that you need in the sport of boxing, especially with a young prospect.
Thank you.
Hey Tito, I was gonna ask two questions. What's the highest weight class that you believe you could finish your career at in boxing? And who's your promotional, company and management that you're working with? And what's your goals to get up there to the higher level?
As far as the weight class, man, I don't know. That could be that could be a tricky question. I'm thinking, 160 because of the height that I got.
Oh
Um,
man.
and
Oh.
the height that I got, man, and I'm so young right now, so I can make 135 easy. So from 135 to 160, maybe 168, because I mean, I could
Woo.
I could rehydrate pretty big, man, if I really wanted to. So it's crazy. You never know, man. That builds up. You got guys like Canelo who went from 140. He thought his thing, and now he's at 168, even fighting at 175. So you just never know, man. But I think I got all the athletic components to be able to kind of pick and choose wherever weight class I want to go to.
You got them damn heavy hands, man. I see some of these highlights, man, and look, man, that punching power look real, man. And you just humble, and I know you putting in the work. You can see it. You can see in the challenges that you take. I mean, you fought some veteran fighters with a lot of experience. I think I think more needs to be said about guys that take on challenges like that, and I think we need to do a better job at assessing the challenges that's being taken. Like for example, you'll see a guy with multiple losses, and we automatically think that that's just somebody you're supposed to run through, but we don't take into account the level of experience that that fighter has, as opposed to you. Like I can't stress it enough. 7 fights. This dude is 39-1. 39-1. That's 40 fights, man. I mean, he triples the amount of fights you have. So, like again, I just can't. I gotta highlight what you're doing. I appreciate it, and I just want to see more of it in the sport. And hopefully, some people will see what you're doing and be motivated by it, and will just take from it and be able to move the same way in the sport.
Yeah, and I'm not looking past Velez, but
Mm-hmm.
when everything goes good, we got another opponent that's even better than Velez. We got with experience, so we just like I said, man, I want to just make the best fights happen, and then we're
Uh-huh.
looking forward to doing that every single fight. If they don't get put notice with this fight, the next one they're gonna get put notice. If they're not, then they're gonna see with the next one. It don't matter. I just want to keep racking them up. That's all that matters to me.
Mhm.
I guess the real question is that when are you gonna knock out Ryan Garcia?
They ain't putting Ryan nowhere near him. You know that.
Man, you cooked that boy up. You cooked that boy up.
I've been knowing Ryan for a real long time since I was like 8. I think that would be a big fight in SoCal, at the Fight Crypto Arena, just
Oh
because
my god.
I think that would
Mhm.
it'll sell a lot.
Lakers.
It'll be like in a way like a Mosley versus De La Hoya, just because we're both from California, and I think it'll sell real nasty.
Mhm.
As far as the
Yeah.
be too much of a struggle for me, I think it wouldn't last. I don't think it'll last past 5.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Ryan's too stationary.
I feel like he has all
Yeah.
the athleticism, but I feel like he lacks a lot of skills. I think he kind of just relies on his speed too much and his power.
Hey man, see, this is why I love to hear from fighters because I've said this time and time again. He relies too heavily on athleticism, and I believe because he's young and he does have real good speed and some good power, I think he's been able to get over the hump with the level of fighters that he's been in there with. I think when I look at him, I just think he lacks hunger and drive. And I said this before. I think because they've marketed him so well outside of the sport, where he's been able to make money, I think it just killed his hunger. It's just, I follow it and I listen to things that he posts and I try to hold fighters accountable to the things that they say. and he had released a statement saying, glad he's not pressed for money, so he don't have to just take these fights. Basically, what I got out of that is a guy that is kind of his stomach is kind of fed. He doesn't sound like a hungry fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was maybe speaking from, he's not desperate, but to me, I just heard a lack of hunger there, and I just think that's gonna always be his problem. Like, and one thing I allude to is like, even from the videos he posts of himself, it's like the same thing over and over. You don't never really see him in the gym really putting in that work and making you feel like he's dedicated the way he is. I just think he's comfortable with being popular and not really being a great fighter. I said this before. I think that's a question that he need to ask himself. Is he content being popular, or do he really want to be great? And I don't get that from him, even in the way he speaks to how he moves. I think he got some growing to do. I think mentally, like he needs some maturing to do, should I say.
Right. No, I mean, even Canelo said it, right? I mean, I know
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
20-minute shadow box,
Uh-huh.
do talking to get back out. Um, he definitely did it different from a lot of boxers, though. Definitely different.
Mhm.
I mean, he kind of came up on the social media aspect. A lot of fighters,
Mhm.
I give him respect for it because he did it differently. There's no other fighter that kind of blew up on social media instead of actually fighting. And
Mhm. Absolutely.
I think he's making obviously get some good money from social media because
Mhm.
that's that he's been taking off of boxing, not fighting. Obviously, like you said, his stomach must be full already. He's content with what he got.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. And he has, just to be fair, he has skill. I can see that he has some ability, should I say, but I just don't. I think the lack of hunger is what's stopping him from getting to that next level.
Yeah,
I was also gonna add on top of that. Do you think like it's best for what Ryan's doing with like all this social media talking and all this weird drama? Does that like help your name grow faster, or do you think that's just like a really poor way to put yourself out there? If you don't have what the skills to back it up.
I think I think it's good from a selling standpoint, right? Obviously if you want to promote the fight, but after a while, man, I don't know if I wouldn't be the type to go over there playing phone tag with somebody else. I can't. I feel like I'd be texting a girl or something, man. That's all day right there. They just phone tagging each other with him and Javante and stuff like that. I think there's a certain point where it's good for for selling the fight, but then after a while, I think they've been phone tagging each other for years already, and they just want to make the damn fight happen. And I think with them not making the fight happen, that's when boxing fans and even the casual fans that we could be getting, they're like, nah, that boxing the joke is becoming more like WWE, and that's why you see a lot of people going transitioning over to MMA because they're at least making the fights happen.
Shit, at least let the WWE. They be making the fights happen too.
That ain't real though. That's a lot of promotion.
Yeah. Yeah. I, quick question: How you see that fight going with Tank and Ryan? And just in your opinion, from what you've been able to consume, what's your reason you think the fight ain't happened yet?
I think and I think a lot of people are siding towards Tank, which I am as well. But I wouldn't count Ryan out either because, like I said, I think he does have some type of skill. I think he has a lot of athleticism. I never seen Monte with a guy like Ryan. Regardless, I still step up from him. Regardless, I thought Rollies was doing good and up until the knockout. So you just never know, man, because I never seen Javante take a shot either. So it's kind of, it's kind of 50-50 in the air, but I would lean towards Javante to win that fight.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
Uh, do you see yourself fighting Gervonta real soon, or how does that pathway begin?
I would like to, but I mean, the people that's behind them, I don't know if they, want to take a fight like that, a risky type of fight. We've seen it in his resume. It's not really too impressive.
Yeah, because the reason why I say that is because I think Gervonta's in the same situation Canelo's in right now, and almost like a Terrence Crawford, in a way, he's trying to act like he wants these fights, but then when the walls are closing in, now the pressure's on you of who you're gonna fight next because look at where the state of the division is right now. You're fighting Jason Velez. You're fighting veteran level opposition, and Gervonta's trying to fight somebody where no one asked. Well, he didn't ask like any of us to have that fight, made to begin with Ryan Garcia. Devin just beat George Kambosos again, and now Shakur's moving up. So like you already see like where the play is going, and I think what's happening is that Gervonta, he's going to be put into a catch-22 situation where he has to either man up and fight basically all the upper echelon, fighters, or he has to basically get out of the way because it's like he can't be holding everything up. And I think, this is very similar to the other two fighters with Crawford and Canelo. If you're not facing like high level opposition to keep your skills sharp, and then when somebody knocks on your door to want to fight you, then you're not going to be ready. So I think it's necessary for Tank to get these fights out the way because regardless of what anybody says, like he has great skills, but it's like think about it. If you're not facing the deadlier opposition in your contemporary bases, then all the other fighters or all the other enemies in your vicinity, they're going to keep getting better, and they're going to keep learning what more deficiencies that you have. And I think that's a really really bad habit that a lot of fighters do because they want to take the easy road out and they don't want to go through the harder path. And I think that's a really poor disciplinary like a disciplinary action that they go through.
Yeah, I mean, from the from a fan standpoint, disappointing to see fighters, top fighters not want to fight their opposition. But you got to remember the people that are behind Gervonta, which is Mayweather, or the whole team pretty much staff, they're gonna do what they want to do, and I feel like they're gonna kind of follow the same blueprint Floyd did when, which is when he did fight, good fighters, they were way past their prime already. And I mean, teach there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to, milk the most out of that money, Floyd did. I mean, he got his own path, right? But hopefully, there's like myself, that has the same mindset that want to be the best fighter.
As far as that goes, how hard is matchmaking for you? Like, if you're going after all these killers, then that means matchmaking has to be difficult at this point, right?
Yeah, but with me having so little fights, a lot of them sometimes, the maybe I don't know what he's thinking. Maybe he's like, maybe he has to. You don't have that much experience yet, so I'm able to get them in the ring, and hopefully I'm able to get, hopefully I don't make too much of a statement that I'm not able to get some of these more experienced fighters in the ring. But with the level of fights that I have right now, a lot of them might be thinking it's a good time to go there and take it from him because the guy doesn't have that much experience. So right now I'm loving it, but they don't. I don't think they really understand how much the amateurs really affects the pro game. I had over 300 amateur fights, so I think that really definitely levels it all back out again with the experience was.
Yeah, because I actually I don't know if you know this other fighter, Abraham Nova. He's like he's a good friend of mine out here in Albany, New York. But he basically told me like the same thing that you told me. Like he had over 200 plus amateur fights, and he was on pretty much at the big stage, and he just didn't get recognized as much. And I mean, but the only time where he actually was like talked about was when he defeated Avery Sparrow, and then that's where like all the big networks, they were putting his name out there. But then after that, that was basically it. And it's just like I found that to be very disrespectful because it's like if the amateurs is supposed to be used as a primer to expand your political campaign to become a good marketable name, then why not have all the youngest fighters in your division all fight each other? Which I think it should be like a mandatory matchmaking system where you can't get away from all the younger talent. And you can't just jump in front of like everybody else to say like, oh well, I'm better than than everybody else because I have like the better promotional backing. No, like it doesn't work like that. Take a look at what happened with Jose Valenzuela. Like he didn't need to fight Edwin De Los Santos. Him and Jezreel Corrales could have had their fight held back to a different date, but no, he decided to take that fight right away because he wanted to test himself. But still, Edwin, he's a killer versus like anybody else coming into any situation like that. You're not going to turn down like a big opportunity if you're not known versus somebody who is known like a Keyshawn Davis. He'll keep running his mouth saying, oh, well, I've been fighting guys with, winning records, blah, blah, blah. And, at least I'm fighting them. But these other guys, they ain't doing that. But it's like, the difference is that you're not taking the bigger risk. You're not going after guys that are not afraid to lay down. And I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of these younger level talented fighters. They don't want to take that risk of what you're doing right now because you want to be better than everybody else. And you don't care what the outcome is. You care about being the best of what you can possibly be.
Right. No, and you're 100%. There's fighters like Keisha who, might say that he's fought guys with positive records, over 30 fights as well. But I mean, if we're being honest, most of those fighters that he's fighting, they had their record padded, up in Mexico, fighting a bunch.
Yeah.
Fighting, so I mean, really, all that experience is not it's not really experience. You're just fighting guys that it makes them look good. I mean, it makes them look good as a one of the best prospects, with those type of records. But if you're talking about fighters that are actually dangerous and actual have actual experience, that's not really what he's doing. And I think you know being a top prospect as well as myself, fighting fighters like that, you're not really developing like that. And in a certain aspect, because once you get into those big fights, there's gonna be adversity you got to face, and I think that's when you kind of would want that type of experience, and I think they're kind of just avoiding that.
How does it work with sanction bodies making fights? Because I've been talking to other fighters where they say sanction bodies prevent certain styles of a certain fighter to be matched up with like another fighter because they have like I'm not too sure if it's like a thing, but they'll like actually prevent fights from being made of having this fighter fight the other guy because they already know what the outcome's going to be and making that fight.
I couldn't really tell you too much. All I know is that I know if you put good fights in front of them, unless you're, I feel like that's more towards if you're like a protected fighter, like top fighter, maybe like Gervonta or like a Canelo, where they wouldn't want to lose a big, uh, I guess, a provider for them that that pays their bills. But as far as mine, with the Nava Silver title, they were more than pleased for me to be able to fight Jason Velez because they know it's a great fight to make happen.
So now if you beat him, then that makes your ranking a lot higher as a fighter, regardless of how the politics play.
Yeah, no, it makes me a lot higher, not only in just the division, but also it starts getting me ranked towards the WBA. So maybe, hopefully, sooner down the line next year, I'm able to go for a title shot.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, man, I'm all down for that.
Mhm.
But there's gonna be some like big, gigantic fights down that path because there's just so many big names that are gonna be in that listing. Like who's that other dude that's really good. He just recently fought. Oh, Michelle Rivera. Like that's a big
Yeah.
fight down the path. Like I can I could easily see it being like a absolute round robin. It's just gonna be like tough fights back to back.
No, man, with all these fighters, especially in the 135, 40, they might as well just do a tournament like they did over there with the middleweights not long ago with Andre Ward. Might as well. I
Yeah.
think
Super six.
that
Yeah.
would. I mean, might as well since there's so. I'm only saying that because there's so many fighters in the 140 division. So I think that would be fun to see who the best is.
Yeah. Speaking of tournaments,
Oh yeah.
do you think that if you're well, like theoretically, without having any political, politics in boxing, do you think there should be like a mandated tournament system universally where when you're going for a title, everybody should fight each other and it should be kind of like like it should basically be like a winner's bracket, a loser's bracket system, and then whoever makes it to the top is basically the, undisputed fighter, right?
I mean, in a perfect world, that would make the most sense. But I mean, unfortunately, man, like I said, these promoters and stuff, they got their own way of, the guy that they want, right? They know that's gonna end up, cashing them out and stuff like that. So, in a perfect world, that would be great. But we're just gonna have to kind of hope a lot of these fighters, see things that, even young prospects like I'm doing, taking risks, for them to start taking risks as well, and start giving the fans what they really deserve.
Yeah, because I figured I'd bring that up because for me at least, I want to see boxing like, you know, basically skyrocket like any other sport because boxing deserves to be like that because this is only you, this is you coming into the ring and giving the fans, like a great show and displaying your talents at a high level and the financial ramifications behind it deserve like a lot more, praised for it, where fighters should be treated a lot better financially, and there shouldn't be any need to be staying in the sport for that that long of a time period. And I just find it disrespectful because it's like, you're taking all these risks to dare to be great, but it's like, if they're not paying you what you deserve, it's like, that's what's, making the sport very vicious in that sense, because it's like, with all these corrupt promoters and sanction bodies, working hand to hand, if anything, like, they're not working towards, the consumers. They're obviously working towards, each other, and having state political, interest groups coming in to say, well, we can keep this up, as long as we want, because nobody's not going to stop us. But it's like, at what point do fighters like yourself actually come together to make that change happen, where enough is enough? Because I think, in this day and age right now, it's important to do it, because we live in such a information based technological world. So do you think that time frame will start to change, with the sport, a lot quicker?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, it's even gotten to a point now where we got YouTubers getting more praise, more attention, even probably selling out more arenas and more pay per views than
Yeah.
boxing.
That's so embarrassing, man.
That's what I'm saying. You even got YouTubers over here trying to help boxing out because these fights, like I said, are not being made. A lot of these fighters are not taking risks, so a lot of these YouTubers are coming here and getting more attention than we are. And we actually, a lot of the YouTubers. I mean, we'll be honest, even Jake Paul, even as much as he say that he trains and he actually takes serious, it's not. We know it's not his life. Like all these other boxers who have no other choice but to go there and get their ass whooped. Basically, I'm gonna put it how it is, but I hope that I'm able to. I'm one of the ones to be able to help change the dynamic a little bit, but unfortunately, it's gonna take it's gonna take a lot more than just one fighter. It's gonna have to take a lot of fighters, especially the top ones, to go out there and try to help change that.
Yeah, because the reason why I bring that up is just mainly because I personally want to change, with the sport. And I figured if I bring this up more with people like yourself and other fighters, and I think eventually that community of, like, of us, being united on that principle, will make the sport better. Because it's like, I enjoy watching all the other major sports, and I just don't like the fact that boxing doesn't get that same shine. Because like, on a marketability level, it should be number one in the world. There should be no dispute over boxing not getting enough ratings, like NFL ratings, NBA
Mm-hmm.
ratings, golfing ratings. Like, boxing should always be, you know, like, it should always be 100%, mega ratings, every single weekend. There shouldn't be any reason why boxing should not come on almost every single day.
Right. No, and I think too, what kind of separates, like you're saying, NBA and NFL, even in high school, right? When you're playing NBA in high school and NFL and all that stuff, they even got them broadcast on ESPN and stuff like that. And there's a lot of great amateur fighters, not even including myself, that go unnoticed because they're
Yeah.
not being promoted or on a platform that's that's like that. You got a lot of these high school uh high school players probably making more money than a lot of a lot of the people out here right now, just because they're being broadcasted and being promoted rightly. So hopefully maybe the amateur system's able to change a little bit, some type of some bigger promotion for these fighters that are actually trying to live.
Yeah, I would like to see more mega sponsorships like Nike, Gatorade, Adidas, like have these like financial scholarship programs to like finance fighters, especially if they want to like go to college and stuff. And like, I really wish colleges actually instituted boxing. Same thing with high school.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, just think about how guys like Zion Williamson and all these like other future NBA rising rookies right now, how do they get all this like attention so early in their careers, and now they're just blowing up with all this money? It's mainly because that they've had more attention from the media, because they've displayed their skills at a high level, and now they're already set for life. Because it's like, like a previous to what you said earlier, it's all like it's all like about gaining recognition from what the audiences that actually care about looking at the young talent. And honestly, like it's just very sad because it's like theoretically you should be at the top level, early in your career. There shouldn't be no dispute to say that you can't get money while you're in high school or heading into your college years because you're not disciplined yet to get that money. No. Like to me personally, like everybody should have the opportunity to make money and be successful, especially, like, for boxing and any other sport, because you are your own entrepreneur at the end of the day. Nobody tells
Mhm.
you what to do. You are your own boss and you run your own life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like I got like a final question for you. What influence you want to bring to the fans for your legacy, and what's the end goal for what Tito Mercado will do for boxing?
I guess my angle, man, is really to whatever is to kind of go with it and say that I was the best at any division. And I'm not saying I'm gonna just be saying I'm the best. I'm actually gonna be going out there and proving it.
Put the work in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
exactly.
work on.
And actually fighting the best.
Mhm.
Not just a lot of these fighters claim they're the best, but they never got down with the best. And I'm not like that. I want to go there. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna say I'm the best. I want the fans to say that I'm the best by beating the best fighters in the divisions. And honestly, at the end of it, man, I just want to be able to say that Mercado was one of the first ones, out of anybody in this generation to go there and take risk and to do it and to come out on top. And now other fighters are more willing and embracing the struggle and the journey to go there and actually take those risks and to change it, change the dynamic of boxing.
Nice. Those are very, very strong words. But yeah, man, I had like a lot of fun doing this. We definitely got to do this again.
Sure.
I definitely like to come to your fight one day, and hopefully you can come out here to the East Coast, and I can see you knock somebody out.
Yeah, hopefully
Mhm. Yeah.
they just did right there.
Yo, the Barclays Center would have been the perfect. Yo, Deontay Wilder card, like, oh my god, man,
Mhm.
you would have lit that whole environment up.
That
Woo.
was man. I feel like the undercard fights could have been a lot better, but I mean, when you have a Deontay Wilder fight, man, it never disappoints. 'Cause it just takes that one shot.
Dude,
Yeah.
oh my god, yo, that like that undercard
Good
was.
thing is the Barclays Center ain't going nowhere, and neither are you. So the opportunity is still gonna be there for you to come knock somebody out of the Barclays, man. And if you come, I plan on being there. I really
Yeah,
do.
I'm pulling up. Come out to the MSG. Like, I'm definitely coming.
Though, hey, Ed,
Yeah,
but
man.
those girl fights this past weekend, hey, those fights really
Oh, yo, I gotta talk. Yeah,
both of them. Compared to I don't really want to bash Hayden like that, but that fight really didn't impress me too much. I think we kind of knew the outcome, and it was a little boring. But that Clarissa Shields fight and the Marshall one, that one definitely impressed me this past weekend.
Clarissa like fought like Errol Spence, man. She was just like ramming her. She was like boom, boom, boom. Yo, I was like, Savannah wasn't gonna get knocked out, and I was like, holy shit! Like Clarissa was
I
just whipping on her.
No, they threw that.
always say it.
That
Yo,
was
The
a,
if that
fight
was a
energy
female fight,
turn
she
up.
would have been stopped. She would have been stopped.
It turned us into kids, man. When we watching y'all fight, man, it's no energy like the fight energy. I was doing a bunch of screaming. Matter of fact, I don't know if you know K Rod. I did over 17 hours of streaming yesterday, man. Yeah, I didn't
oh,
even know I was gonna be
wow.
up right now. But hey, I'm back at it again today, man.
Wow.
Back at it again.
Do you think Clarissa will, you know, like have more bigger fights down the future, or like like what do you think is next for her?
Are you asking me or
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you, Tito.
um? I'm not sure, man, because I don't really follow women's boxing too much. I'm not
Mm.
sure who she has in her division or the next division if there's much competition for her. I know this fight was a great fight. This is my one of my like second second times watching her fight, and I was really impressed with her. But I'm not sure if she has as much competition as she deserves. You know what I'm saying? For her to get the attention that she deserves, obviously.
Man, she the quote. She the quote.
Now with that fight, man, I agree with that statement. I agree. That was a hell of a fight.
Her and
Yeah,
Amanda Serrano quotes.
yeah, boxing won last night for sure, man. I think I enjoyed it. I don't have too much to complain about. Any day it's too much boxing on, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Good problem to have.
How many more fights do you plan on getting in before the year's up?
After this one, plan probably one more. Just to defend the title. I want to defend it at least once by the end of the year. If not, early next year.
Nice, man. I appreciate you for having me on. Do you got any final words before we head up out of here?
October 22nd, right here in Cali, against Jason Velez. Don't miss it. It's gonna be another knockout.
Oh my God.
Oh man, like I said, I'm trying to tune in, and if there's any way, like you said, that I could watch it, I definitely tune into it. And yeah, man, you gotta come over to just do boxing one time, maybe after your fight, man.
Yeah, no, of course, man. Whenever you guys want to have me on, I'm always
What's the best way to get in touch with you?
uh on Instagram.
Instagram. I'm already following you, man. So if you remember the name, Just Do Boxing or KB, I got you. I will be in touch, but I won't be a nuisance, but I will let you do your work. But I definitely be reaching out, and hopefully, you could come over one day, man, and chop it up with the family.
No, of course, man. Hey, I appreciate you wanting to have me on. What's your Instagram thing? It's called Just Do Boxing or KB.
Just do underscore boxing.
Okay, cool. After this stream right here, I'm gonna go in there and follow you right back.
Much appreciation, bro.
Yeah, man. This was a great conversation, man. I had a lot of fun.
Me too, man. Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
We just appreciate your time, and I say this all the time. This is what moves boxing forward, man. I think us being able to reach out to y'all and have screw an interview. This was a conversation. This is what we had, a good conversation, and I just appreciate you being accessible and being willing to come on these YouTube platforms and just speak with us and give us your time. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, no. Every time I come on here with with good people like y'all, and just be as honest as I can, and try to go there and make a difference to the sport. Because I mean, at the end of the day, as a fan or as a fighter, we love the sport to death, man. So I just want to make it better.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had like a lot of fun, Tito. We definitely got to link up, and I can't wait to see you. Unfortunately, knock out Jason Velez. So.
Hey, man,
Yes, sir.
I'll take that job. But
Yeah, man. Just keep applying pressure. Keep being great, man. Keep that great attitude that you have, and I think I know you're gonna be fine. I know you'll be all right.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. Just trying to go with and just it's a journey, man. At the end of the day, it's a journey. All this, and so that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Do you have any final words for the audience?
Uh, I hit it already with the October 22nd, man. It's gonna be a knockout, man. Like I said, I guarantee all my fights knockouts.
I like to hear that.
And I don't do it based on just I don't go with it looking for the knockout on power or athleticism. I go with it, do it on just boxing, man. And it always comes. It always comes. I'm not over there, looking for the knockout. I know I can. I know I got the speed. I know I got all the athleticism already on there. I go over there and I do it by boxing, and it always comes. So like I said,
Yes, sir. Well, man, I appreciate the conversation, man. I will talk with you real soon.
Yeah, no, of course, man. After this fight, we should all definitely get back together, man. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Definitely, man. Stay in touch, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you, Tito.
All right, guys.
Is there?
I appreciate you, K-Rod. That was dope, bro. Yeah, you got me up. Now I was dead to the world a little bit. I'm like, man.
Yeah, like I felt like a little bit nervous, talking with them, but I have fun.
I don't know. You talk. Yeah, you kind of your questions was good. You was on point. You didn't have a bunch of no awkward pauses. That was good. I just appreciate you even considering me, man, because that's what it's all about, girl. Trying to build relationships and have these conversations, man. And I like his attitude. I like how he's willing to give his time and have these conversations and not being diva-ish and being hard to get in touch with. And it's just like we all grown men. We all share a common bond in boxing. Him being an actual boxer, us being supporters of what he does, and I think that's how you're gonna grow the sport, man. I think it's a lot of people that need to understand outside of the actual action that takes place in the ring. Boxing lives on YouTube, man. Boxing lives on YouTube.
Boxing was on
You could,
YouTube.
you get what I'm saying, and there's so
It was
much
on
that can
YouTube.
be accomplished. So much that can be accomplished just by having the right conversations and gracing these platforms and letting people just hear you, man. And I think that's gonna grow these fan bases. That's gonna, bring more people to you because we're gonna be able to understand how you think and move as a fighter. And you just gotta respect it. You walk away
Yeah,
from this conversation being more of a fan of the dude. That quick, just that easy. So appreciate you, bro. That just definitely was dope.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, like I just had a good conversation. I was gonna, get this interview done and try to do some post-fight weekend talk, and then
Yeah,
get up out of here.
yeah, man.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
keep on grinding, man. Look out, you got my support. I don't know why I wasn't subbed to this channel. Did you have to do it over? I'm not sure because I was before, but we back locked in now. So got my notifications and stuff turned on too, so we good. I'll be rocking out with you when you go live. I'll be stopping through. You got my support 100%, bro.
yeah, man. Thank you for coming through, and yeah, man. I just can't wait to see Tito fight, man. It's just gonna
Yeah,
be that.
I'm just watching. Yeah, I'm just watching a highlight while we was talking to him, and I'm just like, man, damn, like this dude really got some heavy hands, and like he said, that's what I noticed. He don't look for the knockout. I think it just comes. You know what I mean? He just naturally he set it up and it comes, and he like got some real power, man. Real power. He got some size. He gonna be a problem. There's gonna be some people hesitant to fight him, but I feel like with us having platforms, using our voices, whether the channel is big or small, it doesn't matter. It's like we stay on it and push the sport the right way, call shit out like accordingly. It's a lot of nonsense that just can't take place because it's more people speaking on the sport, watching the sport. I think as we grow these platforms, we bring eyes to the sport. You get what I'm saying? Everybody that's a subscriber is not somebody that's a diehard boxing fan. They came across, you better believe there's a nice percentage of subscribers that come across your content, appreciate it, and subscribe from there. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I see it all the time. People say it to me. I mean, I just had a good, nice long day, man. I got about 25 extra people. All that streaming I was doing. Actually, man, I'm like, damn, 11 hours and some change just to get a copyright claim, bro. Some music or something for like 3 minutes. And then they so long that I can't edit them. Usually I would be to edit the little part out. But it don't affect the channel. It's just like a copyright for some music, for some weird shit. I'm trying to think. I never get those ever. So I just think that was like some weird shit. I should dispute it, but I don't care. It was all good. It was a good day. Everybody won. We had a bunch of good boxing. Only one that lost that we was rooting for was Gary Antonio.
Yeah, Gary,
He just
Gary
he
got
looked
cooked.
very bad, man.
Honestly,
Yeah,
like
he looked bad.
I felt like Gary blew that fight, and he got pissed off to the point where he tried being dirty, and I was like, Gary, like, why are you doing that, man? Manny just
Hmm.
came out guns blazing, like he just like ripped him, and I was like, how, like,
Yeah,
I was thinking Gary was gonna be like a bad style matchup for Manny because Manny usually he usually has like a tricky time with southpaw fighters, but knowing
yeah,
how I saw Gary fight, I was like, okay, this is not definitely going the distance, and
yeah, man.
yeah,
I didn't see that, bro. I just didn't see that happening. I didn't see him losing last night. Not like that either. It
yeah, that
just did
was
not
it
look
was
good.
bad.
I think the layoff affected him too, man, because he looked he never just looked that out of sorts. He did not look. His rhythm was off. His speed. I mean, not his speed, his distance, his range. Like he was misjudging. He did not know the range and distance that he should fight at. Like he just like confused. That's the most confused I've seen a Russell look in the ring. I couldn't believe it. Got dropped real bad. I'm like, man, damn, yo,
Yeah,
that shit is crazy.
I found that very surprising, and I think it's just simply because like Gary Russell himself, he can't train the same way like his father does.
Nope. I said that, and people, you know what, bro? People, that's why I say my assessments are different because I factor in different shit. Shelton, if this dude don't get his whole chest, nipples, and body, my bad. How the hell you gonna pop on somebody's line with your chest and stomach out? What's up with Shelton, man? He
Wait,
tripping,
what?
Mr. Shelton. You know
Oh,
Shelton.
oh
He
yeah.
just popped him with a live camera all on his stomach and said his boy got his dad's shirt on, man. That shit just what the fuck is he doing?
So
But
weird.
yeah, not enough people put stock into the importance. Like we say we understand the importance of his father, but then we don't necessarily say the things that would indicate that we understand the importance of his father. Like y'all think that his pops not being in that corner ain't at least in the back of his mind each time he go into that corner, despite it being Gary Russell, his brother. It's not his father. It's not the same. I don't think he would have looked that bad with his father. I just don't. We never seen it. You never see he was much more disciplined. He was just like out of it. It just was a bad fight. I mean, from the opening bell, like he just didn't do good.
Yeah, it was just not a good performance, and
Hmm.
I just feel like both Russells, Gary Antoine and Gary Antonio, they're not going to perform well, and
Yeah,
I just don't see Gary Russell Jr. taking on that role, especially
yeah,
not having their father's presence, and
yeah,
I just think honestly, like it's just like either they should seek like a better trainer that could give them a better
yeah,
outing for what they want to
yeah.
accomplish, or
Nah, for real.
they need Gary Russell to have somebody else come into their camp and then train with them, because it's like Gary Russell can't do it by himself. He's not.
I don't think so either. And I think it would be smart for them to and somebody asked that about do you think they'd go outside of Gary's, tutelage to try to learn? And I'm like, I truly hope that they're willing to do that. I truly hope so because if not, I mean, I think they could find themselves in some trouble. I think that makes you a better fighter, more of a man to understand that it's nothing wrong with going outside of what you used to try to get help and to learn and get better to get to that next level. That's something that I kind of appreciate about Anthony Joshua, his willingness to try to go get help and be willing to try to learn new things and implement them to try to be better. Like that's one thing about him that I could appreciate. So
Yeah.
hopefully they do go get some extra help because it's tough juggling your career, you training yourself, training your brothers. Like that's a lot, bro. It's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It's the reason why as trainers train. You get what I'm saying, and you get what I'm saying. They focus so heavily on that, and fighters fight. So that's why I think it'd just be like strenuous at some point, man. It would be wise of them to kind of go reach out to somebody, but who that somebody would be remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy, man. Man,
Wow.
this was a good night, man. Deontay Wilder, man. Man, I had to block a couple people coming in. Only, oh yeah, but Fury beat him. What the fuck do that got to do with him knocking this dude out tonight, yeah? Like, damn, that should be blowing me. That shit messed up my energy for a minute.
Yeah. The reason why
Like, man, block this weirdo, man.
they're they're only
Damn.
saying that because they know Wilder is better than Fury.
Yeah,
That's really why they're saying that. They know that
and he
Wilder.
had to get saved. He had to get saved to beat him. They had to cheat that man, if we being
Yeah.
honest. So,
Yeah,
man,
so all
people
these
full
fucking
of
haters
shit.
are just fucking like afraid of Deontay Wilder. That's really what it is.
Uh-huh.
But
Mad that he beat their favorite fighter's ass.
yeah, I was gonna ask, do you want to stay on with me to cover the undercards, or
How much longer you gonna be on?
I'm gonna just cover all the undercards from yesterday and then I'll get out of here.
Oh shit. Shit. I got a couple minutes. Go ahead. We can run through it. We can run through it, bro. I
Okay,
got
yeah.
you. I'm here.
I'll start with the Clarissa undercard.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start
Mm-hmm.
with the co-main event with Alicia Baumgartner and
Mm-hmm.
Michaela Mayer. How did you see that fight?
Alicia and Michaela. I actually didn't see it as a split decision like the judges did personally. Like I think the fight was competitive, but I think Alicia Baumgartner, her first overhand right, if you remember, I think that set the tone, and I think that got the respect of Michaela Mayer much earlier than what Mayor expected. She got hit a lot earlier than what she expected to get hit with that punch. I think it kept her hands in her pockets for a bit, and
Yeah,
as a result, she started late. She started late, and I just don't see a case where it was a split decision because she started in like the fourth round. She was down like 3 rounds to me. She just wasn't active. And I just don't see how you could win rounds if you're not active. And then when she did start fighting, they had the ebbs and flows. She had her moments, but it was streaky to me. It wasn't consistent enough. You know what I mean? I think Bumgarner just did the better work and spent more of the fighting how she fight as opposed to how Michaela Mayer fight. Michaela Mayer spent too much time fighting Bumgarner's fight. And I said it. She wasn't active with her punch output how she normally is. She wasn't throwing a bunch of combinations how people say she do. I didn't see her fighting with the same confidence that she normally fight with. It was a lot for me. Her body language is off. You could just tell she lost.
she
She
fought.
hung her head over after the fight was over. Like,
Yeah, she fought like a really like dumb version of like Vonda Ward against Ann Wolf, but she didn't even have any like like adjustments made in the entire fight. She literally just came forward, tried to throw a bunch of these weird sissy punches, and
yeah,
Alicia was just
yeah.
cooking it with like those overhand right counters. And I think that the biggest problem with like Alicia was that she kept getting hit with like the right hand from Michaela, in which like if she blocked that with her left, then she would have knocked her out with like a good uppercut right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
She definitely
I
had like
agree.
the power to hurt Michaela. It's just that
Yeah.
she just didn't want to try to take any too many high risks. So that was very smart of her.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mary, she was too
but
reluctant to throw.
yeah, but I think Alicia, like honestly, like if she's successful for getting undisputed at 130, I think her and Katie Taylor will be, that big fight where I could easily see like Alicia beating up Katie, too.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too.
And
I can
then
see
if
it.
she wants to fight Amanda Serrano, then I'm down for that too. Just to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying for all the beautiful queens like her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm with it.
Yeah, let's talk about Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Like, we already know what we're gonna say, but
Mm-hmm. The main thing that impressed me with that part was was Clarissa's power. She walked out of that. She left that fight looking like the power puncher, looking like the harder puncher than me. That was clear as day. I don't want to hear pillow fisting no more. She was beating Savannah Marshall up, and it was fun. It was fun to watch. Yes, I was cheering every step of the way.
Clarissa,
I
like
enjoyed that aspect.
Clarissa beat her
Mm-hmm.
down like Tommy Hearns with that Errol Spence. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
she came out there like
Mm-hmm.
EJ beating up on Chris Algieri.
Mm-hmm.
She like literally pounded on every single punch that Savannah threw, and she kept drilling her with those massive, uppercuts.
Yeah, man. I kept telling people, if y'all seen the uppercut that Shields is landing, and hell, she was beating her ass, man. Oh man, she
Yeah,
liked a couple of my posts recently too.
yeah,
Clarissa.
Clarissa. Honestly, like I'm not gonna lie, but I kind of feel like Clarissa actually does tune in to what we say. I'm
If
not
I
gonna
get
lie.
Clarissa Shields to follow me, I'm gonna just talk shit just because of the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. Tito just
Hey man,
Tito kept his word. Tito just started
hey man,
following me. I like T. That's dope.
if she ever comes through to any of our channels, then I'm definitely gonna give her all the praise and credibility
Mm-hmm.
because she's
Mm-hmm.
a real one, man. Like she don't be listening to no dumbass fucking narratives being thrown onto her.
No, no, no. Mm-mm. That's
But
why I appreciate what she brings to the sport.
but that was just a tremendous performance. Great ring IQ. Her ring IQ has
Mm-hmm.
gotten extremely higher, and she's just
Yeah.
destroying a lot of fighters a lot easier. And it doesn't even seem like she's really losing any, defensive mechanism. She's actually getting better. And I kind of hate how people were saying that Marshall was kind of like, basically not trying her best against Clarissa, knowing that she was talking all this fucking shit, saying that she's gonna hurt her, she's gonna knock her out, but yet you couldn't even get past like a jab. It's like
Mm-hmm.
she literally beat the living
Mm-hmm.
crap out of you. You
Yeah.
like honestly, if that fight was like a 3 minute 12 round fight, she would have been stopped
Mm-hmm.
hands
I
down,
think so.
hands down,
Mm-hmm.
just garbage.
She she was getting hurt. It's funny. I like Clarissa, and she's so real. She said she do hit hard. She said I couldn't see. She hit me. I couldn't see out of one of my eyes.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried because I thought Savannah
Not
was
me,
like,
because it's like fighting. We couldn't tell. I couldn't tell her eye was fucked up or she couldn't see or something. Like I'm like, man, it didn't look like it to me. She was fighting her ass off.
yeah, she was
Uh,
she was eating Savannah's punches, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually thought
you are.
Savannah. I actually thought Savannah was actually cheating in that fight because she was like using like some like really like dirty punching mechanisms to like try to hurt
That Fury shit.
yeah,
Pulling the hair down, trying to hit, holding the back of the head and trying to hit. Yeah,
yeah,
she was
yeah,
doing it. She pulled some of it. She got a little desperate. It didn't get obnoxious, but she started getting a little Fury esque in there.
yeah. She was gonna try to throw like rabbit ass punches and shit, and I was just like,
Uh huh.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
that shit wasn't gonna work. But on top of that, Clarissa just dog walked her. She wasn't like afraid to go toe to toe
Brother
with
how to
her.
play, huh?
Yeah, so she just
Mm-hmm.
basically took all that like away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that shit was amazing, man.
yeah,
Even Daniel Dubois' sister did good.
yeah. His sister's amazing, man. I definitely love Caroline a lot. She's awesome,
Body shot. I like her more than I like Fundora's sister.
dude. She would wash
Mm-hmm.
Fedora's sister, or
Man, she beat
yeah.
her ass. Chris
Uh,
got her probably a body shot like she did
she's
the chick
tall.
from last night.
She's tall enough to make lightweight. Anyway, she don't need to be fighting a 150.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Like I even said it the other day to her. Like this was like 5 6 months ago, but I said that her and Zarina should fight each other, and she don't want to make like any
Okay.
mention to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
You know how that goes. But I said, man, that's why we talk this boxing because we could push for those type of fights and keep bringing them up, making sure people hear about them
oh
and
yeah,
making cases.
I'm
You know what
gonna
I'm saying? As to why they need to fight.
I'm gonna start being petty towards like a lot of these fighters, that want to be, like avoiding all these other fighters, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, nah, but it's it. They being petty with us. Shit, like
Yeah,
they ain't giving us what we want. Like as boxing fans, like why we can't get what we want, bro?
yeah. I mean, if you ain't giving me what I want, then I'm gonna be talking my shit and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
disrespecting you.
Mm-hmm. You don't want
Let's
us to talk this shit,
yeah,
then make the fights. You get what I'm saying? Have the damn fights.
yeah. Let's move on without the next fight card. With Walder and Hellenius, and
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
I'll start with Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Gary Antonio Russell.
Ah,
Um,
man. Yeah, you welcome, big boy. Yeah, man. Gary Antonio Russell. I rock with him heavy, and I'm gonna support him win, lose, or draw. I just think that was a really tough loss for him. He never got into any rhythm. That's by far his worst performance, not just because of the loss, obviously, but because this was the most ineffective I ever seen him look. That's the worst I ever seen a Russell look in any professional fight. You know what I'm saying? And that just was that was a I don't know, it was a little disconcerting. I don't know, man. It's a little concerning because it's like, damn, bro. Like we seen Gary Antonio have a rough time his last fight a little bit. I mean Gary Antoine, you know what I mean, a little bit. And then you see Antonio just completely unravel in there. I mean, he kept fighting. Credit to him for continuing to fight and bite down, but I don't know what Gary was telling him in the corner because either Gary was telling him and he wasn't doing it, or Gary wasn't telling him the right shit. And I think that's something that's a real question. Either he was being told the right stuff and just wasn't doing it, or he wasn't being told the right stuff, so therefore he couldn't do the right shit. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't being told. So I don't know. I don't want to blame, like, come off like I'm blaming somebody, but it just wasn't a good showing at all for him. And none of the rounds, he didn't win a round. That's very bad.
Yeah, and the biggest issue was that he did not use any of his, southpaw abilities that he could have done to like immobilize Manny because, just by like me personally, I always look at like, what would I do better if I was in that situation? And looking at what Manny was doing, he was lunging in a lot with his left. But what Gary should
Mm-hmm.
have done is that he should have moved to his right and then break him with his left because you would have hurt him. And then on top of that, Manny kept like leaving his like right face wide open. So like I would have drilled him
Mm-hmm.
with like that straight left, and then I would have broke him to the body, and then you would have had more success just like winning the fight. But he didn't do any of that because I felt like his mindset is still not there because he doesn't have his dad in front of him, and then
Mm-hmm.
he's mentally, disrupted to the point where he doesn't believe, in his like he doesn't believe in himself anymore as a fighter, and I just think
That
it's
looked like he had a confidence issue as well. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I felt bad for him because I like Gary, a lot, but I was just very
Mm-hmm.
disappointed because it's like, this is pretty much like the second, like occurrence that the Russell brothers have not looked good in. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know if this is, like the blueprint of their father being dead, so therefore they're not fighting well because of him. But it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
if you guys are going through some mental health issues, then to me personally, if I was like a brother out of that family, I would try to seek professional help and then get back into boxing. When you're mentally cleared out because you don't want to kill yourself. Like in the sport. While taking all that punishment, and then you're battling depression, and that's not like a good recipe. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
disastrous, for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they need to uh uh refocus, like, and take a step back and really
Yeah,
fix some shit. They really do.
but it's like I don't hate them, like I'm gonna be honest as a,
No, not at all. Mm-hmm.
you know, like this is like no, this is at a pure, respectable, criticism. Like I want,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I don't want to see them be failures. Like they are
Yeah.
great
Exactly.
fighters, but you cannot keep
Mm-hmm.
yourself, at the high level having that mindset.
Nope. Nope. Or looking like your confidence rattled, or you don't know. Mentally, he just wasn't there. It's like the lights was on, nobody was home.
Yeah,
That's what I say. It's like the equivalence of somebody fucking letting the engine just run in the car, but ain't driving nowhere. That's what that was. The car was on, but wasn't nobody driving it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really looked like to me.
yeah,
My son look distracted. He just looked mentally not there. He didn't respond well to things that was happening to him. And the punches, he kept getting hit with the same punches. He was getting rocked, knocked off balance, hurt, buzzed. He got dropped real bad. And he looked like he was damn near out of there. I'm like, man, you gotta think. Anyway, destroyed dude in 2 rounds. That's crazy.
yeah. I think honestly, like if that was Naoya Inoue, hurting him like that, then then I think that would,
Knockout,
yeah, I think
knockout.
he would
Yeah.
have been stopped. But it's just like Manny,
Mhm.
Manny punches hard, but he doesn't punch as hard as Inoue.
Mhm.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
the difference is that Gary, he looked very disturbed, and he looked like he didn't know what he was doing in the fight, and he
At
just
all. At
yeah,
all. From the range he needed to fight at, nothing. He wasn't there. I've never seen a Russell fight like that.
yeah. Yeah, but it's like he could
Mhm.
have done way better, and I just don't like the fact how
Mhm.
how he just blew this opportunity because it's
Yeah.
like,
Wasn't this the eliminator, right?
yeah,
The
it's for the
eliminator, I think.
IBF
Mhm.
title. So, you
Mhm.
know, like honestly, like I wanted him to beat Manny because, like if
Get a
anything,
title shot.
Yeah, he would have been closer, to like a title. But now that I think
He,
about it, I think he just needs to take some time off, and then
they
he'll
already
be.
kind of blackballed and shit. Uh huh. They looking for a reason not to like these dudes.
Yeah. That's another thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but moving forward with the other fights, how'd you like that Frank Sanchez and Carlos, Negron fight?
Frank Sanchez did his thing, man. He did his thing. He started strong. Kind of, Negron came on just a bit. Man, made the shit a bit more interesting. But then Frank Sanchez, man, he was very smart in that fight, and he picked the right shots and got his man out of there. Bust his nose up real good. From that point, I felt like I thought he was gonna stop him. Once I seen the nose busted open like that, the way it was all over, the blood was all over his face. I was like, it looked like an accident just happened on this shit. I'm like, yeah, he gonna hurt this dude, and he got the stoppage. It was impressive to me, real
Yeah,
impressive. Negron is a solid fighter too. He ain't no, he ain't no slouch. So I
yeah, I
think
think,
that was an impressive showing from Frank Sanchez. He
yeah, I
made up
thought,
for that dull ass performance he had a fight or two ago.
yeah, like I thought Carlos was gonna stop Frank Sanchez because he had like the better, punching power. But unfortunately, I was like very wrong because I had, looked at his previous resume, and he's been
Hmm.
stopped before. But I wasn't thinking Frank was gonna be that aggressive to actually knock him out because honestly, like I don't think he's a natural heavyweight. I don't think Frank is actually like built for the division. But he
Hmm.
looks so like he looks so fucking like out of shape and so big, and I was just like why did you have to put all that weight onto you? Because it's like honestly, like I don't think that's a good I don't think that's a good weight for him. I think his best weight, for the heavyweight division is like 230 or at least like 225. Don't be anywhere above like 250 because it's like he don't look any better.
Yeah. I mean, some people would say that. He don't overly impress me, but it was just a good showing last night. But I still don't know how I feel about him possibly becoming a champion.
I think he
Hmm.
could. I think he can win like a title. It's just like how many tough fights will be in front of him that will
Hmm.
eventually take away his championship reign because eventually
Hmm.
like I think Jerry Big Baby Anderson will probably defeat him, and then I think Stephen Big Shot Shaw has a very high chance of defeating him, and
Hmm.
he might lose to Dakari Scott, but I think Dakari Scott can be beat by Frank Sanchez. So I think that
Yeah, no, I think he fuck around and stop the car, Scott.
yeah, I think
Ain't
he
that
might.
Mac truck, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
think he, I think he stopped him. I'm seeing the way he got stopped him. His only loss that he got. I ain't like how he looked. I don't think he had a skill set to be able to deal with Frank Sanchez. I think Frank could be able to outbox and possibly
yeah,
stop him.
Frank's footwork and hand speed is way better than Dakari. And I
Hmm.
was like, I was kind of criticizing that in the past to say like it like if Dakari doesn't work on his footwork and hand speed and definitely conditioning with all that weight that he has, that's not
Hmm.
that's not going to help him rise. And I think his highest scaling would be better if he fought a lot more athletically, rather than just having all this packed up weight. Because just because it's a heavyweight division doesn't mean boxing skills are taken out of the
Hmm. Hmm.
equation. Like
But you still need a certain amount of boxing skill.
yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, you still need to have a good athletic body to be in shape to set up those shots because you're wasting so much energy trying to look for that big power shot. But then, but the minute you
Hmm.
have somebody that's athletically gifted that can go 12 rounds and not get tired, it's like you're gonna get knocked out.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, the heavyweight division is gonna be really fun. knowing that Deontay Wilder, if he, like, honestly, like, I'll be very proud of him if he gets, undisputed. But that'll like
Mm-hmm.
reset the heavyweight division, and he has so many like young talents that will follow him, and it'll just be so much easier to see like all the better talent, once he's gone. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, but before we get to Wilder, let's talk about Plant. Beating the living crap out of Anthony Durrell.
Pillar to post.
Yeah,
Pillar to post. He beat him every round to me and then stopped him.
man, I was happy that
Mm-hmm.
Plant knocked him out because he had like the Freddy Krueger shoes on.
Yeah, man. I didn't see a one punch knockout in the cards for Plant. I did not see that happening. Man, I did not see that. I did not. I
Yeah,
repeat, I did not see that happening, bro.
that was
Yeah,
hilarious. But
yeah,
on
that
top,
one punch and the way he doubled it up, boy, he dug the hook to the body, a left hook to the body, followed up with a left hook to the head. Man, that was a sharp hook and just ended the fight. Impressed
yeah,
with Caleb Plant, man.
I was thinking he was gonna throw a left hook to the body and then uppercut and left hook with it, because like
Hmm.
that's what he's really good at doing. And like if
Yeah,
he did that, I would have been so happy if he did that, because Anthony Durrell was about to get his neck like broke after that.
yeah, man. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
he like
bad. That was a bad knockout.
Caleb like brutality him like it was a Mortal Kombat session.
Yeah, big time. Finished him. Yeah, he finished him for real. And all that, you can't punch and don't get on your bike, bitch. Don't run this, and you
Oh
just
no,
got slept, bro.
but I was telling like another friend previously in the like in the past that that don't be surprised if Caleb comes back a lot different from the Canelo loss, and basically he just beat himself that night, against Canelo, because he could have stopped Canelo too. He just
Hmm.
didn't stay switched on. It's just that he just left that left hand down, and then Canelo hit him, and Caleb
Yeah,
just he just failed to like just stay defensively switched on in the fight, and he would have easily beat Canelo decisively. But even if he lost like a robbery decision to Canelo, Caleb Plant would have shown he was the better fighter that night instead of getting
yep,
stopped. But either way,
yep.
I'm still proud of
Hmm.
Caleb Plant, because
Yeah,
he
he
showed,
learned from the law.
yeah, like he never changed. Like he looks a lot better with Bones Adams, and like I really wish
Hmm.
Breadman was actually training him, at the beginning of his career, because he probably would have
Yeah,
been, yeah, he probably would have been a lot more dangerous to take
yep,
over super middleweight real quick.
yep. Stopped the guy that never been, he knocked out a guy that never been knocked out. He been stopped once by a cut with David Benavidez, but that's it. He was knocked out last night, so
Yeah,
that just was impressive.
what pissed me off about Anthony Durrell was that he thinks he's like the ultimate badass because he fought David Benavidez and Caleb Plant didn't. But the difference is that
Hmm.
you decided not to fight Caleb Plant when he became a champion as soon as he beat Jose Uzcategui. But on top of that, why didn't you fight him early in his career when he was on the come up? Because PBC could have easily made that fight, because you guys were on the both, you guys were on the same side about the street. But on top of that,
Hmm.
Anthony Durrell blew his opportunities when he got world titles. And, not to mention when he won his first world title, he had like a fucking draw with that guy, so he, arguably lost his,
Hmm.
his first world title fight. And then once you won your quote unquote belt, you then lost it. You got your ass beat. And then,
Hmm.
same thing with, Avni Yildirim. Avni Yildirim arguably should have beat you because you had that bad cut over your right or left eye, whatever eye that got effed up, and you should have arguably lost that fight. I actually thought like Avni Yildirim, should have won that fight off of like a bad cut, because just because it was like over 4 rounds or past 4 rounds doesn't mean that if
Hmm.
you have like a bad cut in boxing, it should automatically go to the cards. No, like you should have lost that fight, through technical stoppage or doctor stoppage.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, that makes sense. That shit just Man, this boy, it's the way boxing worked last night is just crazy. The way these fights was coming on and the way they was ending. I enjoyed them all, man. But he was just too old for Caleb Plant, and he wasn't going to beat him. Too old. And he still think he was the younger Darrell. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't understand where exactly he was at physically in his career. Still talking like he the younger version of himself, and he wasn't. Bet he know now. That's a retirement knockout loss right there.
Caleb Plant would still beat him in his prime anyway. You know, he doesn't.
I think so too. I think he just a better boxer. Period.
Yeah, but it's like he decided to fight Caleb Plant at this stage of his career versus not fighting him when he was at his absolute prime on the come up, and
Uh-huh.
you had more experience than Caleb Plant, and you clearly showed that Caleb Plant it was he was already levels above you, you know, coming into this matchup. So Caleb Plant, he's a very good dark horse, in the in the division, and nobody don't want to give him a lot of credit because we're like what because he's white. No, he's a damn good ass fighter, man. And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you don't want to give
He
him
damn
credit.
sure don't fight like no white guy.
No, he has a
Damn
good
sure
black
don't fight. You
American
know
flag.
what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Fights very old school. He fights like a very young version of who's that one good boxer back in the day? He fights like oh man, I forgot his name. He was so good back in like the old era. Um, uh, he was I think he fought a middleweight. Oh, Michael Nunn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has some shades of him. He kind of fights like him.
Uh-huh.
But he has
Yeah,
such a
I can see that.
yeah, like Caleb has such a good technical boxer puncher style. You know what I'm saying? Pure boxing volume puncher
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
He's
And it's like
basically yeah, he's a
him,
ground fighter.
him and Breadman looked like they was working on sitting down on their punches a bit more because he sat down on that left hook, man. He dug to the body and checked him with that hook to the head and just, man, picture perfect, man. Picture perfect knockout.
Yeah, and it's like power isn't everything in a boxing fight. It's how you set up that one good shot to actually stop somebody, and you don't need to have mega power to to stop somebody. It's all about the technique of how you set up the punch and getting somebody out of there. But
Uh-huh.
boxing is not about knockouts. Boxing is about technicality and having the archetype skill set to bring to the ring. So yeah,
Yep, exactly.
yeah. Let's move forward with the main event with Wilder and Hellenius. There's not much to talk about, but if you want to say anything,
Yeah. Yeah, man. Glad to see Bomb Squad back. Glad to see him doing what he do best is snatching souls and knocking people into the sunken place. And that's exactly what he did last night. I think he only landed 3 total punches that fight, and that last one was the kill switch or the kill shot, and it ended him.
Deontay
Hell
Wilder
of a
looks
knockout.
yeah, Deontay Wilder looks way different from his last fight, and this new style is definitely taking out everybody out in the heavyweight division, hands down.
I think
Um,
so too. I think so
yeah,
too.
but it's like imagine Wilder younger having the style, he would have stopped everybody a lot faster.
Yeah, this shit would have been ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
Just that movement being more like elusive and moving, giving it being a moving target, and then being able to just stop on the dime and turn your lights out. It's just that's a gift right there.
yeah. But now he's
Definitely a
using his
gift.
right hand more, and he's now hurting people a lot faster. So
Mm-hmm. And he didn't even sit down. He only checked him with that punch. He
I
didn't
was
put
like,
like that wasn't a true right hand in his. It just wasn't.
yeah, Hellenius, I felt bad for him, but I really didn't because he was really being stupid of trying to lunge right in, and then Walter's like, "What are you doing?" And he just killed him like it was like a brutality shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And man, that was a kill shot if I ever seen one.
Yeah, but
Picture perfect.
I think it clearly shows that all roads lead back to Deontay Wilder, and he is the undisputed champion, people's champion, hands
Mm-hmm.
down.
Last thing I'm gonna say is, man, where the hell was Usyk at, man? Let me find out Usyk
Yeah,
backing out. He like, man, nah, after
Usyk,
saying that, I'm cool. I'm cool on
Usyk,
that. I ain't fighting that dude.
man,
Uh-huh.
Usyk's gonna duck Deontay Wilder. Just wait.
If he do, then I'm a damn sure make a video about it because he said he was gonna be a man of his word. So if he go back on it, then I'm gonna call his ass out on it.
I think Deontay Wilder should go after Usyk and mandate that fight to become a mandatory, and then that way he can get one of his belts, and then just wait for Usyk and Fury to fight each other, and then boom, he can knock out Fury.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's like
Pretty
if he ain't
much.
gonna fight Wilder, then Deontay Wilder should keep
Uh-huh.
for sure. You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think this now opens up Wilder and Ruiz next because that's what I heard.
yeah, yeah. If Usyk ain't gonna be a man of his word, then yep, I see them throwing Ruiz in there, and I could see his big ass being stretched.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder's gonna knock out Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep,
he's gonna crush him.
definitely gonna knock him out how Joshua should have.
It's just gonna be such an easy fight for him. He's all he has to do is just drill that check left, and then jab Andy to death.
Jab him, and Andy got to work his way inside. When he make his way inside, you shoot that right hand like the missile that it is, and end the fight.
Yeah, yeah. I guess last but not least, Haney Cambosis too. What's your thoughts?
Easy win for Haney. I think he beat him a little more convincingly than he did the first time. Had him pretty bloodied up. It was crazy to see Haney bleeding a little bit too, but he damn sure won handily. Kind of respected the respect that Cambosis showed Haney. So
Yeah,
I
I
can
find that
respect that
really.
from him. He was humble. Now he back normal again. So now you could like him again.
Yeah,
That fake persona is washed away because he literally beat it out of him. So good win for Haney. Now let's see if he fight Lomachenko next.
yeah. I think that's what's gonna be the play next, and then after that, Haney will might go back out to one, or he might move up to 140. But I think he
Uh-huh.
should just move up to 140. I think Loma should just basically be fed to the wolves, and he doesn't need Lomachenko because it's
Uh-huh.
like honestly
He
Lomachenko's a
just
bum. So
he just said he felt like he need that fight. I was reading it. He said because he felt like beating Lomachenko would get him the respect that he deserved from the boxing world. So I'm like, all right, now I heard you. I read what you said. Now it's time that now once he beat up Jermaine Ortiz, because he is, that fight should be nuts. Y'all too. It's not gonna be Tank. I ain't worried about that. But it better be Loma.
yeah, I don't think Lomachenko's gonna beat him. I think Jermaine has a good chance to upset him too.
Mm,
Because
that'd be
honestly,
interesting too.
yeah, because if Jermaine, if he, if he actually comes out guns blazing against Lomachenko, and Lomachenko does the same thing like he did with Tiafimo, where he doesn't throw his hands enough, then I think Jermaine,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think, I think Jermaine can easily cruise to a decision, but it's going to be very difficult to get that because if like Lomachenko throws like a couple punches in certain swing rounds, and everybody's going to say
Mm-hmm.
Lomachenko won that round automatically, yet Jermaine outboxes him.
Yeah. Yeah. You know it.
Yeah, but I think if Jermaine, if he beats Lomachenko, then I won't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if him and Haney fight each other because I want to see that fight.
Yeah. I would personally wouldn't mind seeing Loma and Haney. Like I said, that's the next fight that you claim you want. So And I think that's what Bob Mam gonna push for. As long as he under contract with Bob Mam, I think gonna try to push Loma in there next.
Yeah, yeah, but I think that's about it. Appreciate the conversation, and
Oh, always, bro. It's been a good conversation. I'm about to go find me something to eat now so I could get back some energy from yesterday. And I'm probably gonna jump on a little bit myself
yeah,
once I eat. I gotta eat first.
yeah, same here. Like I gotta refill my energy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, bro. It's been
Yeah,
good talking, chopping it up, K Rod, well, I'm tapped in, so, I'll be checking in with you for sure.
yeah, for sure, man. I'm always on the grind. I'm always gonna keep grinding and
Hmm.
get this channel
Yeah,
big.
yeah, man. We're gonna get there. We definitely gonna get there.
Yeah, I'll also upload this to the podcast. After this is over, and then like I'll send you like.
Definitely, definitely. All right, bet. That's cool.
Yep.
All
Appreciate
right,
you.
bro. Definitely. All right.
Yep. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Tito Mercado. And Just Do Boxing, Sports and Tunes. Thank you for coming through. Please go check him out. He is a great, great channel. Talks to a lot of the Mexican fighters off of the West Coast. Very good boxing mindset. Very cool. Shout out to Mr. Skywalker Boxing, hashtag TWT and LDBC. Please go support my, eldest friend, Mr. Skywalker, and salute to the Black Brother himself, Mr. Combat Toolbat. Please go help his channel reach to 1,000 subscribers. He is almost there. Family. Yes. And also, salute to everybody else that came through. Be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Share this video around. This will be uploaded to my podcast right now as soon as this is over. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for coming through. Salute to the mighty, mighty LDBC. Salute to the TWT. Salute to Tito Mercado out of that West Coast, California. Whew, October 22nd. Tito about to steal the show on Saturday, and it gonna be a good knockout coming. And I will be tuned in, and I can't wait. Salute to you, Tito. Very, insane freak athlete, just a absolute monster. And yeah, that's about it, man. So thank you guys for coming through. I will see you guys very, very soon. I'll also be talking about Loma and Jermaine Ortiz. I can't wait for that. I might want to go to that fight, but I really might not. Like, I don't know. I think it's best I'll just stay home for that because Jermaine's a very good fighter, and I would like to see him in person. But I think it's just best I just keep it out or I sit that one out because I got some things I got to focus on. But all right, I'll see you guys later. Peace out and goodbye. Peace.